2 years have passed since Sudan was plunged into civil war, and once again the world hears the cries of the innocent in Darfur. The Rapid Support Forces launched fresh attacks on Zamzam and Abu Shuk camps, as well as the capital of North Darfur. These camps, temporary homes for over 700,000 people fleeing conflict, have become the latest scenes of devastation. More than 100 civilians have been reported killed, including at least 20 children and a medical team. The true death toll may be much higher. The UN has condemned the assault on Zamzam as yet another appalling escalation in a brutal campaign against displaced people and aid workers. The roots of this war run deep. Sudan has long suffered coups and authoritarian rule. After dictator Omar al-Bashir was ousted in 2019, there was hope for a new democratic Sudan. A joint civilian-military government was formed, aiming for transition. But in October 2021, military leaders General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan of the Sudanese Armed Forces and General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemedi, of the RSF, derailed the democratic transition. Power struggles between Burhan and Hemedi turned violent, and on 15 April 2023, a full-scale civil war broke out. The impact has been tragic. Sudan now faces the world's largest humanitarian and displacement crisis. Over 150,000 lives have been lost and nearly 14 million people displaced. Of these, 11 million remain within Sudan, and almost 4 million have fled across borders into neighboring nations, which themselves struggle with hunger and in need of aid. Darfur, a region already scarred by past atrocities, is once again the epicenter of suffering. Civilians have faced looting, sexual violence, and massacres. The United States has formally declared that the RSF has committed genocide and mass rape against ethnic Masalit and non-Arab communities in Darfur. Gender-based violence has tripled since the war began. Diseases such as malaria, cholera, and measles are rampant, yet hospitals are under attack, many no longer operational. On top of this, Sudan is experiencing the world's largest hunger crisis in recent history. First confirmed in Zamzam camp in August 2024, famine has now spread, affecting over 24 million people. Without urgent intervention, tens of thousands more could die. As Sudan's civil war enters its third year, the country's desperate plea for aid has been largely ignored, with only 10% of the $4.2 billion needed for famine, displacement, disease, and essential services secured. International efforts to bring peace have fallen flat. Talks have been initiated by the United States, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, and the African Union, but without participation from both warring factions, there is little hope of success. The latest international effort in London, co-chaired by the AU, EU, UK, France, and Germany, aimed to unify global support for Sudan's future, but failed to achieve progress as neither warring party attended. Foreign influence further complicates matters, with the UAE accused of supporting the RSF and Egypt backing the army. Meanwhile, Sudan's rich ethnic tapestry, with over 500 distinct ethnic groups, is often overlooked by international actors seeking simplified solutions. Our friend on the ground, with deep ties in Sudan, notes that peace efforts are hindered by power-hungry leaders disinterested in genuine reconciliation. If the conflict continues, Sudan's humanitarian disaster will only worsen, with 50 million people facing severe hunger and regional instability. Despite being the world's worst humanitarian crisis, global attention remains elsewhere, and the international community largely overlooks Sudan's suffering. With just 2.3% of Sudan's population identifying as Christian, the church is small but steadfast. Despite enduring trauma, starvation, and hardship, Sudanese faith leaders continue to serve with resilience, offering hope and joy as a powerful witness to Christ's love, even while carrying their own burdens. But they cannot stand alone. Their communities face urgent practical needs, deep emotional wounds, and spiritual challenges. The global church is called not only to pray, but to offer meaningful connection, active support, and financial aid, both for immediate relief and long-term sustainability. In the midst of it all, there is hope. God is moving even in the darkness. People from unreached tribes are coming to faith, and ministries are growing within Sudan and the diaspora. Yet these efforts require urgent support, especially for young leaders who will help shape the church's future. The international church has a crucial role. to raise awareness, advocate for Sudan's Christians, and commit to long-term engagement. When rebuilding begins, the church must have a voice in shaping education, governance, and minority rights. Without it, a vital opportunity for influence may be lost. Now is the time for Christian leaders, inside and outside Sudan, to step into the gap. They need consistent strategic support from the wider body of Christ. We have a unique opportunity to uphold the Sudanese Church, just as Aaron and Hur held up Moses' arms during battle. Let us lift them up in prayer and support, trusting not in earthly resources, but in the name of the Lord, our God. In Context continues to stand with our brothers and sisters in Sudan. If you feel led to support them through prayer, connection, or practical help, we welcome you to reach out. Together we can remind them they are not alone. Please join us in prayer for the following. Pray that those in positions of power and influence will bring an immediate end to the violence and establish lasting peace. Pray for Sudan's faith leaders and believers that God would renew their strength, meet their needs, and use them as beacons of hope and love. Pray for humanitarian access to reach the millions facing hunger, disease, and displacement. Pray that the global church would respond to Sudan's crisis with urgency, compassion, and enduring support.